Good evening, brothers, and thank you for joining us tonight for the Delta Chi International Chapter Call. I'm Carl Grindle, the Executive Director, and tonight we will highlight the state of Delta Chi. I'm pleased to be joined by two members of the fraternity's Executive Committee tonight, AA Patrick Alderdice and CC Matt Gorney. Mark Sexton, DD, was planning to be with us tonight, but sadly his mother passed away on Friday, and he is with family tonight preparing for the services this week. Please keep Mark and his family in your thoughts and prayers. We also have the pleasure of being joined by Rod Arnold, President and Chairman of the Delta Chi Educational Foundation. In addition, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Jeff Broderick, Illinois State 81, President of the Barrister Capital Corporation, and his leadership in fostering the resources and support offered by Barrister this past year. Before we begin, though, I would like to take a moment on behalf of the entire Delta Chi fraternity to send our most heartfelt and thoughts and hopes to the family of Riley Strain and to his brothers in the Missouri chapter. As you probably know, Riley's family is currently in Nashville, and we've reached out and spoken to them directly to express our support during this incredibly difficult time. We understand that the sense of concern and uncertainty over Riley's disappearance can be overwhelming, which is why we are focusing our efforts on supporting our members and drawing attention to the disappearance as we actively monitor for verified updates from the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department as they continue their search. I encourage all of you to support these efforts in any way you can. First, you can help ease the financial burden on Riley's family by contributing to a GoFundMe page set up to help cover their expenses during this difficult time. To contribute, simply search for GoFundMe Riley Strain or follow the link below. Your support is greatly appreciated. You can also help amplify the search for Riley by sharing the missing person flyers posted on our social media channels with your direct contacts or by reposting across your personal social media channels. We hope you can take part in this collective action because we believe every contribution can help. Third, I would like to remind everyone of the resources and support we are providing to the members of the Missouri chapter. The University of Missouri and Delta Chi are offering in-person and online counseling support and services to chapter members. We know it can be difficult to ask for help during challenging times. So I ask you to please remind any brothers who might benefit from this support to please take advantage of these resources or reach out to a chapter leader so they can get the support they need. My final ask of you tonight is to please contact the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department if you have any information, no matter how small, related to Riley's disappearance. Even if it's something that you may have heard or that you think wasn't important at the time, please reach out to the local police department at 615-862-8600. Thank you for your support. Delta Chi remains hopeful for Riley's safe return. The Executive Committee and I would now like to give an update on the state of the fraternity and share what's been happening in the past year and what to expect in the near future. As I mentioned at the start, I'm joined by members of the Executive Committee tonight who will assist in sharing these updates. First, I will invite Patrick Alderdice, our 54th AA, to review the strategic initiatives of Delta Chi and where the fraternity stands today. Patrick, welcome, and the floor is yours.
All my fraternity brothers tonight. When the executive committee was elected in July of 2022, we set out had three specific strategic initiatives we wanted the fraternity to be focused on. Number one was manpower. We wanted to focus on setting up a growth task force to go ahead and focus on the growth of our individual chapters and the overall membership of our fraternity. Our goal was to go ahead and grow our chapters from the average chapter size in July of 2022 of 44 men to 52 by August of 2024. Additionally, we were focused on the membership experience. We wanted to go ahead and enhance the membership experience by one, evaluating and assessing where our members are experiencing as far as today's concern, as well as looking at how we're delivering our educational programming through both the regional leadership conferences, as well as the leadership program we've been providing as far as the fraternity is concerned. And then finally, we wanted to go ahead and focus on alumni engagement and volunteer success trying to get more alumni engaged, not just on a national level, but also in our individual chapters. I'm happy to go ahead and report, as of March 15th, today, Delta Chi has a total of 106 chapters. July 2022, we were at 116 chapters. We've lost 6 chapters during that period of time. I'm happy to also report that right now our total membership is at 5,226 members. 5,226 members is the second all-time high as far as the fraternity is concerned, as far as the history of the fraternity. So our total membership is extremely strong. But the best thing right now is our average chapter size. Our average chapter size, like I said, when we started July 2022, we're at 44. Today, our average chapter size is 50 men, a growth of 13.6%. So we couldn't be more pleased as far as that's concerned. We still have some more work to do to get to our goal of 52, but we're at average chapter size at 50 today. We've been able to go ahead and grow our fraternity by 2 provisional chapters this year, Coastal Carolina as well as South Carolina, which I'll be giving you a little bit more update later on. And then finally, we have approved 4 chapter charterings. High Point University this past fall, Arizona just this past month, and then Creighton will be chartered April 6, 2024, and Villanova this coming fall 2024. Carl, back to you.
Thank you, Patrick. Based on that snapshot, it's clear the fraternity is strong and focused on the future. I will now share a little bit about the member experience and updates from the past year. The Regional Leadership Academies were a success. We conducted 4 concurrent RLAs in Reno, New Orleans, Kansas City, and Philadelphia during the Martin Luther King weekend. This was the fraternity's single largest educational program, as we hosted over 700 people through the RLA experience. Over one weekend, we held 4 academies to advance Delta Chi. The RLA included the A's Academy, the Dale Carnegie Scholars Program, officer tracks, and a recruitment track. This year, we were able to see the entirety of the Dale Carnegie Scholars Program occur in person. The RLA added a day and a half of programming to the standard RLC schedule and saw more officers and chapter leaders be able to participate in our leadership training than ever before. After 1 year, we know there are adjustments that need to be made, but we're excited for the RLA program in the future and what we can do in 2025. As mentioned just a minute ago, this year's Dale Carnegie Scholars Program was able to be held in its entirety during the Regional Leadership Academy. We saw 89 graduates this year for a total of 150 Delta Chi Dale Carnegie Scholars in the past 12 months. Scholars received access to a world-class program often offered to Fortune 500 companies that provide sought-after skill building and certification to members. The weekend experience was designed to build greater self-confidence, strengthen people skills, enhance communication, develop leadership skills, reduce stress, and improve attitudes and outlooks. We will also continue to offer the virtual webinars this year, with the next one to occur on April 17th at 2 p.m. Eastern, based on entitled The Psychology of Relationship-Based Influence. Please watch social media and your email for additional information. For the second straight year, the fraternity conducted its membership experience survey. The MES is a 5-year longitudinal study meant to assess and analyze the Delta Chi experience. The information gleaned from the survey will allow us to tell the story of Delta Chi and not just rely on anecdotes. The survey will measure member behaviors and attitudes, gauge growth in a range of areas, including problem solving and ethical decision making. Will also help to create an understanding of how members experience brotherhood at the chapter level. Each chapter received a custom report at RLA and will be an important part of chapter coaching and goal setting moving forward. Our initial findings show that our chapters provide a place of belonging for our members, which is so critical in today's environment. Our members embrace the value of lifelong commitment, and our members reported high levels of satisfaction with their experience, which spoke to their pride in Delta Chi. Year 1 had a strong response rate of 66%. Year 2, we currently sit at 56%, and would encourage any student watching and any advisor watching to encourage their members to finish the survey so we can see that participation rate increase. The membership experience survey will help us to make informed and data-driven decisions in the future. The Anti-Hazing Task Force was established almost 1 year ago and was charged with the mission to evaluate the current associate member program and provide any recommendations on best practices moving forward. The task force desires to make recommendations that elevate the associate member experience, takes into consideration the modern college environment, and is proactive in its programming and resource development. The task force is asking for assistance and calling upon chapter leaders to participate in listening sessions this spring. The feedback and commentary received in these sessions will be instrumental in informing the task force's final recommendations. Please encourage your chapters to participate. Patrick, please share the fraternity's successes this year in the area of manpower.
We're experiencing significant growth as far as the fraternity is concerned. We're at second all-time highest as far as membership at 5,226. As you can see on the presentation right now, our number one chapter for between July 1, 2023 to March 15th, 2024 is Florida State. It's 76 men recruited over the past 9 months. Second was Missouri at 68, and then third was 63 by LSU. So out of these top 10 recruiting chapters, right now we're doing a great job as far as recruiting our men. We're not just doing it by just providing good, solid educational programming for the men to go ahead and learn to recruit from. We're also doing it through our expansion program. This fall, we went ahead and returned to Coastal Carolina and recruited 25 new members in our expansion this fall. Just 2 months ago at South Carolina, we expanded for the first time at South Carolina. We recruited 50 men to date and still growing. I'm happy to go ahead and report, though, starting in fall of 2024 and 2025 school year, is that we're going to be really continue to focus our return on places that we've been before. So Purdue University will be returning fall 2024. Ball State University will be returning, as well as the University of Utah will be our first time expanding at Utah. In spring 2025, Indiana University and University of Iowa will be returning to those campuses where we've had strong alumni bases in years past. We've been doing focused on our manpower to make sure that all our chapter has the resources to go ahead and be successful. We've engaged a company called Fired Up to assist us specifically with their chapter builder program, which is their CRM program, to make sure that our members can accurately with technology be able to track the members that are both expressing interest and doing the necessary follow-up. And we're providing consistent educational programming all throughout the year, not just on a monthly basis, but also throughout our Regional Leadership Academy. In addition to that, though, one of the challenges that the fraternity has actually recognized is the challenge coming out of COVID of inactive status. Prior to COVID, we would average right now about 352 men were going inactive during our academic year from July 1 to June 30 of those given years. But starting in COVID, we started seeing a significant spike. We had 683 men going inactive when COVID started. Now spiking up to last year, we had 818 men going inactive. Just this year, as of today, we're at 632 men that have been that went on inactive status, with only 118 men actually reactivating during this period of time. We think this is a significant issue, and we know that this is a significant issue as far as Delta Chi is concerned, because on average right now, 15% of Delta Chi's total membership has been inactive over the past 4 years. So we're looking at, what we can do as far as inactive status. Probably going to be presenting some legislation at this year's convention to go ahead and address this. Why? Because right now we have roughly about, on average, 7.5 members per chapter per year are lost in inactive status. And over a 3-year period, that adds up to about 22.5 members per chapter that are lost in inactive status over that 3-year period. And can you imagine if we're at an average chapter size of 50 today, if we didn't have inactive status, that we'd be over an average chapter size of 70 men, which would be right there competing with the likes of the top 2 fraternities that have an average chapter size of 71 and 73 members to begin with. So we're looking at how this impacts us specifically. Next slide. We know the benefit of retaining our members, and specifically, if we can go ahead and address the issue of inactive status, we'd be able to have healthier, stronger chapters, greater stability, a better experience, more accurate reporting, as well as we just have an overall stronger brotherhood of a lifetime for the number of men that are going inactive. So be looking for the additional calls that are be coming up to talk about both inactive status and the other things we're going to be tackling at this year's convention.
Thank you, Patrick. It's great to see the focus on sustainability and growth. Now we're joined by Matt Gorney, CC, and he'll share about the ongoing work in alumni engagement and governance. Matt.
One of the main aspects of coming in, as Patrick noted earlier, is we decided that a focus on our alumni engagement was just as important as focusing on our member experience. One of those key aspects is identifying advisors and volunteer vacancies. Recently, we were presented with the information that somewhere near 10% of our chapters do not have a reported BB and or ABT president. In the last calendar year, 2023, we were able to identify a number of those vacancies, and once identified, seek out and train new alumni volunteers to start filling those gaps. In 2023, we're happy to report that we were able to train 72 new volunteers. But it's not just about the alumni engagement focused on our undergraduate chapters. It's about the experience that our alumni are having as well. Currently, Delta Chi has more than 40 active alumni chapters and more about to be chartered soon. We've also been engaging in alumni receptions around the country where our brothers can get together, meet each other, and renew those key ties that bind all of us. It is also important that our communication strategy focuses on our alumni as well as our undergraduates. And that's why we encourage all of our alumni to engage with the fraternity on its social media and to engage with the emails and communications that are coming out of headquarters so that you all can be aware of such things such as a new alumni chapter in your area and or an alumni reception coming together. And finally, we're also focusing our philanthropic efforts on engaging our alumni as well. We have great partnerships with both the Educational Foundation and the V Foundation that we continue to look to leverage for not just our undergraduates, but our alumni as well. One of the other key focuses that has arisen is a hard look at our governance structure. And that led to the creation of the Governance Task Force. One of the important aspects of the fraternity is that we also have to take a look at ourselves. We have to take a look at our structures. And to be honest with you, our governance structure has not been addressed in decades. We are very appreciative of the previous attempts at looking at our governance structure, but this Board of Regents and this executive committee has come together and made the decision that it is time to look at codifying the shift that has been happening for the past 10 to 15 years. Our board has been moving from an on-the-ground tactical level to a strategic level where the board directs the strategic activities of the fraternity. That process has already been going on. That process is almost complete, to be honest with you. And now it's time to put that into our governance model. Our regents are ready to shift away from their status both as chapter in a chapter advising role and a strategic role. What does this mean? This means that we need to look at a model so that our undergraduate brothers still have access to the resources while those brothers who are serving in the regent capacity are doing the work of the international fraternity. It is also important that we recognize our staff at international headquarters is larger than it has been in the past. And we need to leverage that staff along with using our vice regents as the key support for our chapters. Now, let me be clear. This does not mean that the regents are not important, but it means that we have a better way of using these resources and deploying what we have. So what are we looking at as far as changes? Initially, and I'm sure a lot of you have seen this, a reduction in the number of regions and regents to 4 so that we are able to have a national board that can pivot quickly, respond as needed, but also be that strategic leadership. The total board size would therefore reduce from its current 13 to 8 members. Additionally, we want to allow the regents to focus on their responsibility as board members for that elected region, which is again a focus on the board level. What comes with that is a necessary increase in the qualifications to run for regent. Our regent qualifications in Delta Chi law haven't been addressed in a significant amount of time, and we need to be sure that we are putting not only good people in those positions, but the best, most qualified people who can lead our fraternity. And therefore, one of the things you'll see coming to convention is a proposal to revise the regent qualifications and to use our qualifications review committee to ensure the people running for regent are qualified. Regents would therefore be elected at regional leadership academies in non-convention years, which would offset their terms with the executive committee elected at convention. And most importantly, the role of the vice regent, long an amorphous component of Delta Chi law, will be elevated and standardized so that our chapters still receive the same level of contact and service that they are accustomed to, in addition to their work through their chapter coaches at headquarters.
Thank you, Matt. We appreciate that update, and the opportunities that await Delta Chi in offering a brotherhood of a lifetime are endless. Now, I'm pleased to have the president and chairman of the Delta Chi Educational Foundation joining us, Brother Rod Arnold. But before we hear from Rod, I want to highlight that at the bottom of your screen, you will see information about supporting Delta Chi by texting LOYAL to 91999, which will allow you to make a contribution to the Educational Foundation and support leadership programming like the Regional Leadership Academy and the Dale Carnegie Scholars Program. We wouldn't be able to have the amazing impact on our members' development without you and your support. For those who are texting LOYAL to 91999 right now, we appreciate your generosity. Rod, good evening.
Good evening. How are you, Carl?
I'm doing well, thank you. Yourself?
Wonderful. Thank you. Welcome to everyone who's joining us on this call this evening. My name is Rod Arnold, Texas A&M, class of 1988. I am thrilled to announce the foundation, where things stand now and where things have been moving over the last number of years, and update you on kind of what role that we play. We get this question quite a bit. What role does the foundation play? Where does it fit into the organization? It's very, very simple. Every university in the country has a foundation, and the foundation has one goal, and that is to support that university by raising money. And what it means to you as an undergrad is that whenever your alumni are looking at ways to support the chapter, to support the fraternity at large, this is the way that they donate. And the most important part is we are a 501c3 charitable organization. So it means they save money on their taxes. You reach a point, you probably can't imagine it now, but there will reach a point where your personal CPA will share with you, you need to make donations to someone just to help your tax return out a little bit. So what we do is we have focused the last number of years on engaging alumni. We have alumni all over the country. Maybe you can't imagine this right now as an undergrad. I don't think that I could. But you grow up, you graduate, you get very focused on your career and making it in the real world. Sometimes you travel across the country for a job, you relocate. My personal story was I moved from the Dallas area to Atlanta, and when I was here, the first evening that I landed here, there was an alumni here, one of our former AAs, Mr. Mike Carroll, brother Mike Carroll, and he said, "Hey, why don't you meet a few of us out for for a burger and get to know a few guys?" And I showed up. And there were 10 to a dozen Delta Chis around a table. I can't tell you what that means when you're traveling across country and moving to a new city and don't know anyone, to have brothers in that area. And immediately some of those brothers became some of my best friends in the fraternity, and I've known them for years and years. So what we've really focused on the last number of years, and in order to grow support for the fraternity, we've got to grow our circle of influence, our circle of donors. So we have had a campaign to build what we've referred internally to as our army of donors, because the more donors, engaged brothers that we have, the more programming that we can support for the fraternity. We support a number of different things on the national fraternity level. We support things like fraternity or leadership training. We also support scholarships for individual brothers. And also at the chapter level, chapters will set up chapter scholarship accounts. You may have heard CSAs, and also ECIs, Educational Chapter Housing Initiatives. When you start saving money for a house and you need an account to where donors can put money into there, again, tax-free, and then that money can be used towards housing for the chapter. These are all the varying components of what the foundation can do in regards to chapters. On a larger scale with our alumni, we have focused on creating what we have proverbially referred to as the side door, the kitchen door to the fraternity house for alumni. If you remember going through Rush and you get all dressed up, you use the front door coming into the fraternity as they welcome you and host you and engage you in hopes that you'll join the brotherhood. After you've been around for a while, do you use the front door to your fraternity house, or do you go in the side door, the kitchen door? Alumni are the same way, right? They want to walk in the kitchen door, make it comfortable, go somewhere where everyone knows your name. And that's what we've really tried to create with the foundation. We have a number of chapters over many, many years who are currently on hiatus. So we have alumni out there who want to continue to be engaged in the brotherhood, and they feel that they don't have a home. Our message is, you absolutely have a home. Your chapter just grew from your local chapter, your local franchise. You now are nationwide. So you've got brothers that are all across the country that are just happy to be your friends and happy to engage in activities, both social and professional. And that's what we've really worked on the last number of years, is to expand that army of donors. We've engaged with alumni chapters so that when we hear about chapter needs or events coming up, it's not just alumni from one chapter that are coming over to help. We have alumni from multiple chapters who say, "Hey, my chapter's back across the country. I'd love to help the local chapter here in their varying endeavors." So all of a sudden, you've got an alumni base that is engaged and ready to help. And that's really what we focused on, is expanding that circle from a handful of very loyal donors that have carried the weight for a long time to expanding that to where we have an army of donors. Last year, we raised over $1.4 million toward scholarships and chapter endeavors, in addition to leadership training on a national level. We had 986 donors participating in our varying fundraising efforts, which is absolutely astounding. It's been a tremendous growth over the last 10 years or so, and it's been a very directed effort from a number of brothers that care about you a whole lot. So I just want to say welcome on behalf of the alumni. We're here for you. That Brotherhood of a Lifetime thing, it's real. It doesn't take a whole lot of effort, but we're trying to create a home to where alumni can come in and feel like they know a whole lot of brothers. Our next engagement effort has been to bring more and more alumni to our conventions. And I think we're going to hear in regards to focus on what conventions are going to be. It is okay to fly the fun flag when it comes to fraternity efforts. And that's what we've really tried to do whenever we're engaging alumni. Instead of just having meetings to talk about some of the, the initiatives going on, we want to make it fun and social, because alumni don't always have a lot of time in their varying efforts and things that they're doing with family time and professional work. They always want to, find places here and there. We want to find places here and there where we can engage them socially and have fun and remind them how much fun it is to be in the fraternity. And you don't have to be going back just to your own chapter to engage in that Brotherhood of a Lifetime. So that's been our focus for the last number of years, and things are only looking up. So our goal over the next couple of years is to permanently be able to support leadership training for the fraternity and other areas where we can basically set up permanent funds, just like universities do, to where we can have in the future monies that are set aside to permanently endow and permanently solve some of the challenges that we have along with any other organization out there. Carl?
Thank you, Rod. What an impressive year for the Educational Foundation. Kudos to you, and many thanks on behalf of the fraternity and the undergraduate members for the support you provide to allow our programs to have the impact that they do. So thank you so much, Rod, and thank you to the Educational Foundation. For those watching, please don't forget, you can donate tonight by texting LOYAL to 91999 to support those efforts and the impact that we have on the fraternity and the foundation. As we begin to wrap up this year's International Chapter Call, I want to provide 2 updates on convention this summer. Most of you have already heard, but convention is moving hotels this summer. While moving hotels was not in the plans, many people have been able to help us make the best of it, and I'm excited to share that convention has moved just a few miles south of Fort Lauderdale to the JW Marriott Miami Turnberry Resort and Spa. The JW Turnberry has been great to work with and has agreed to honor our previous contract with the initial hotel, which means room rates and other contract concessions remain in place. This is a huge win for Delta Chi. Also, as you probably know, registration launched earlier this month. Delta Chi works very hard to be sensitive to the rising costs and has put in significant effort to ensure programs are sustainable and affordable. This year, as we worked to establish the registration fee, it was clear that there would be an increase in the registration for both undergraduate and alumni participants. The increase is due to several factors, but most notably, the registration cost for undergraduates has not changed since the 2014 convention, and for alumni, registration was last changed in 2018. As we all know, costs have increased on almost everything since 2014. However, based upon the considerable feedback the fraternity has received, it's working to evaluate its registration fees for this summer's convention, and we'll announce any changes in the coming days. We appreciate the feedback and hear the concerns. We all want convention to be accessible to as many brothers as possible. Please watch your email and social media for more information on registration and schedules. Coming up here in the month of April, please join your regents and the executive committee members on April 16th and April 18th for the regions there noted at 8 p.m. Eastern to discuss the important legislation items that will be brought to the convention floor this summer. There'll be time for discussion on governance and on the inactive status and on other proposed changes to Delta Chi law at that time. We want to be ahead of the conversations, and so one of the points of feedback we hear often when we go into convention and legislation is the information is being shared just a little bit in advance of convention and no real opportunity for us to discuss those changes. And so we want to provide these 2 points as a town hall to be able to talk about what could be upcoming in those legislation proposals, to take any feedback and make revisions if necessary, but an opportunity for you to have your voice be heard early in the process. We've come to the point tonight where we're going to take a few questions, and to help us with that, we have 2 staff members, Delta Chi's Chief Marketing and Experience Officer, Heather Lockwood, and Director of Marketing and Communications, Chase Strother. They will be sharing questions with me here behind the scenes. We anticipate there will be several questions, and not all will be answered tonight, but we will review those questions and do our best to respond after the International Chapter Call ends. I see 2 questions that have come in that I want to address first off that have come directly through the chat. One is, what are the root causes of members going inactive, and what will legislation be at convention to address that? So I think what are the root causes? I think there are really 2 that members often point to. That's academics and financial. But I think there's often a third that's posed in this question here, of personal preference. And I think the personal preference is really the issue we want to address of members who choose that the experience is no longer worth their time or worth their dues, and that how can we help them understand the value within Delta Chi, the programming that's available, and the opportunity for them to grow as young men. So I think part of what we'll talk about through any proposal will be how do we ensure that if there are individuals that need very defined reasons to go inactive, whether that's a health issue, a financial issue, they're serving on a mission trip or military service, that they have that opportunity in a very defined way to request it and for it to be approved by not only the chapter, the ABT, and maybe the international fraternity for a very limited amount of time. We don't want to totally take away the opportunity, but we want to make sure it's used responsibly. The other question that I've seen pop up is, what sort of cost increases can we expect to be voted on at convention regarding member dues or convention assessments? We're right now in that point of doing the research and identifying where we are on our rankings with our peers with dues, and is there a necessary increase coming this summer? Even though there may not be one this summer, it doesn't mean that the fraternity won't consider cost increases moving forward. We definitely have the opportunity, we need to have the opportunity to increase fees to ensure that we can stay on par and continue to provide the quality of programming our members have become used to. So we appreciate those questions, and thanks so much for sharing. Another question that's been shared is, why have regional leadership academies been replaced by RLCs, and why wasn't there more alumni programming this year in January? Patrick, I want to ask you to take a chance to answer this and share a little bit about why the RLA transition and what our plans for alumni programming next year.
Yeah, thanks, Carl. I appreciate the question. You know, first of all, we really wanted to go ahead and focus on what the undergraduate experience was, as far as we were looking at the regional leadership conference and the experiences that were being had there compared to what we feel like the Regional Leadership Academy can be providing over a 4-day experience. And so we wanted to enhance that experience as far as the undergraduates are concerned, especially those that were traveling in at the RLC. It was basically a 1-day experience, a significant amount of travel back and forth for that. And as well as we wanted to make sure that there was consistent programming at all 4 of their regional leadership academies than there was at 9 regional leadership conferences. And so that was one of the main reasons to make the change from regional leadership academy to from the regional leadership conference. The final thing I will go ahead and say is we're really focused on the undergraduate experience this time. We are committed to make some tweaks to the program, especially with this being the first year. We've learned a lot from that, probably going down from a 4-day experience to more like a 2.5 to 3-day experience on a move forward basis. We also recognize that we need to go ahead and add, which was our intent and plan, alumni or advisor track to the Regional Leadership Academy. We'll be doing that in 2025. So for the alumni that are on the call tonight, be looking forward to more enhanced, robust alumni programming compared to what we've had in our first go around this year.
Thanks, Patrick. Appreciate that insight. The next question that's been shared and often is shared in these calls, and I'll direct to Matt, is how do I find out if there's an alumni chapter near me, and how do I start an alumni chapter if there isn't one? Matt?
That's an absolutely fantastic question. First and foremost, how do I find out if there's an alumni chapter near me? Go to the Delta Chi website. Under the alumni section, there's an area for alumni chapters. All of the active alumni chapters are listed there. So that's a great step one. Is there somebody near me? If there's not, even better. You have an opportunity to start one. It's relatively simple. It requires the signatures of 10 alumni living in the area or more, but at least 10, paying the $150 chartering fee, and submitting that petition with the names to the Board of Regents for approval. Questions can always be sent to our phenomenal Director of Alumni Engagement and Relations, Ross Dicknight. He can help lead you through the process, and he can ensure that you have the resources to be successful. He can be contacted through headquarters and would be happy to have those discussions.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate that contribution and that insight. Rod, this question's for you. How does the foundation support our undergraduates? And specifically, in what ways does the foundation use its donations?
Well, as I touched on earlier, there's a few different buckets that we work on at the foundation, but I'll say it's a two-part answer. One of them is direct impact to the undergrads that I'll touch on first. And then another one is the indirect part that is the sustainable part of it. The direct impact is last year, the foundation, when I say the foundation, I'm talking about your alumni, your donors, your supporters. Wrote scholarships almost to the point of $250,000, $247,000 in scholarships and grants were awarded last year from the foundation. And that directly impacted 376 of our undergraduate members. There are multiple scholarship accounts that go to multiple chapters, multiple reasons tied to multiple donors and alumni who have wanted to give back to our undergraduate brothers. That's the direct impact. The indirect impact is more longer lasting. Have you ever given a gift and not been thanked for it? Think about that for a minute. So a lot of times alumni will give a gift, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the fraternity. It can be to any organization. The worst part is when there's no follow-up and there's no recognition and no thank you. So what the foundation has really been working on is being that person to say thank you. And here's what thank you looks like. Other than a card or a call, which is extremely important. After that, we let them know that by perpetual giving of small gifts, medium gifts, there's all different ways we engage them and let them know what our chapters and what the fraternity is looking for and in need of, because it pulls on different heartstrings of different alumni. So we get alumni who were previously, they wanted to give, they want to support, but they didn't know how. So we're trying to really, really focus on the education of the different needs of our undergraduate brothers and of the fraternity at large, and really become that farm system of that group of donors and that group of alumni to get them engaged, because it's not just dollars that they give. They also give of their time and their talents, not just their treasure. For example, if we become the farm system for the alumni, when we're looking for, on the chapter side, chapter BBs and people to work with the chapters, it is much easier to engage those alumni who are in the process of understanding what's going on in the fraternity, keeping engaged. We're keeping them engaged on a communication level and on a social level, so that when needs arise, we have people that can immediately engage with the chapter. And that is extremely important for the fraternity, and what's been touched on in regards to alumni engagement. This is where we can develop that farm system of people in that inner circle of the fraternity.
Thank you, Rod. We appreciate that, and we appreciate all of those who contribute to the foundation to help support the fraternity, the program, and most importantly, making a difference in the young lives of our members. So thank you, Rod. I see there's a few more questions that have come in the chat. We're going to answer those offline in an effort to keep us moving, but want to just appreciate your questions, your engagement tonight, and the work that everybody's done to advance the fraternity. As our time's coming to an end tonight, on behalf of the Executive Committee and Rod, I want to thank each of you for joining us this evening for the International Chapter Call. Thank you for those watching for your support of Delta Chi and for your support of the undergraduate members. We need brothers and supporters like you who have committed themselves to helping young men be better. Thank you to our undergraduate members. You make Delta Chi what it is today. Your success is Delta Chi's success. To the many members across North America and beyond who work tirelessly year-round as volunteers to advance Delta Chi, especially the Board of Regents and the boards of the Educational Foundation and Barrister Capital, thank you. The fraternity's collective appreciation goes out to each of you for your stewardship and loyalty to the bond of Delta Chi. To the staffs of the fraternity, the Educational Foundation and Barrister Capital, thank you for your hard work and dedication in 2023. Don't forget, the international headquarters, the Educational Foundation, and Barrister are here to assist in any way possible. Please visit deltachi.org for more information. As we end tonight, I ask everyone to please keep Riley Strain, his family, and the Missouri chapter in your thoughts and prayers. You can help the efforts by contributing to the Riley Strain GoFundMe page, sharing the missing persons flyer on your own social media feed, and reporting any tips or information to the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department. More information on how to assist can be found on Delta Chi's website and social media channels. Please help in any way possible. Thank you for joining us tonight, and please be safe. Good night.